on. Hi, thank God, because this is a really tiresome day. My glasses on backwards, but yo, Philly Hot Radio, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being patient with me. I got a lot going on. I really do. I really do. I had some music to play. I couldn't find it after I had it planned, but I have an awesome, beautiful guest right in front of me, and then I also have a magnificent show coming on after this. So let me introduce you to my guest. Please, young lady, tell us who you are.
Hey, my name is Reek Green. I am a transformational speaker and coach. What I do is I am the founder of an organization called Lady Declare, which stands for Leading the Destiny I Declare. I speak to young ladies as well as women. My goal is to basically empower, educate, and enlighten in any possible way possible. So basically, I take the whole woman. One of the things is that I don't believe people understand basically what a transformational coach is. I am not a therapist. I don't motivate. I transform. My goal is to transcend you from one place to the next. And my goal is to not have you necessarily think about your past, but to be able to push you towards your future. And that's what my goal is to really help you see exactly what your future can be. So whatever it is that you want, my goal is to make sure that you get it. So I run an organization as well as I go around and I speak to people and I just get them to the next level. So that's basically what I do. And right now I have an organization, I have a program called Queen Academy and we are currently on tour. And with Queen Academy, I speak to young ladies between the ages of 12 to 18 and I teach them about what it means to know your worth. Because it's one thing to know that you're beautiful. I think that all women are beautiful in general, but to know your worth is a whole nother avenue. And so once you can define your worth, then you understand that you are the queen that you were created to be. So that's why it's called Queen Academy.
Queen Academy,
Mm-hmm.
dedicated to young ladies,
Mm-hmm.
correct? So what made you want to do this? Like, what inspired you to say, hey, you know what, I want to do something for quote unquote our young princesses? Turn.
Um, I look at that. I mean, it's not something new. I believe that everybody want to reach out to the youth in some form or fashion, but with the media being so saturated with what how we define beauty, and the reality is that 98% of women in general, not even young people, but 98% of women do not feel beautiful. I felt that it was my due diligence to make sure that we all found what it meant to be beautiful. And when you go back and try to figure out at what age did you stop thinking that you were beautiful or start knowing that you weren't beautiful or started questioning your worth, you actually were five. The age of five is when we first started identifying what it meant to be beautiful or what you thought beauty was. And so, with that, I try to go back to that crucial age of when I truly started questioning my worth, and that was around the age of 12. So that's why I wanted to be able to grab hold. A lot of times we say, "Oh, children are resilient," you know, they'll bounce back. But the reality is that we just become children that are 40. We don't ever really grow out of the pain. We don't really get away from it. We just manifest and we carry it into our adulthood. So that was my goal to make sure that people understood that you could, get past it.
Get past it. It's interesting because I hear some ladies still say that they have yet to get past it in their late 40s and
Mm-hmm.
50s. So how do you get these young girls? Like, how do they get involved in your program?
So basically, right now with the school district of Philadelphia, we're having a really big tour come August where we're going to be speaking with the where anybody at that point, any young lady between the ages of 12 to 18, they're free to come out. So that'll build a different platform, and then we're actually picking it up, and the tour is going to go from Philadelphia, then we'll be hitting Baltimore, D.C. We'll be hitting North Carolina, and then we'll be going to
Okay.
Atlanta.
What is the ultimate goal to hit like every?
I want to, but my ultimate goal is to make sure that I can hit as many young ladies as possible. So not, I I knew when I first started the baby of this that I had to start off small. So I took one brick, but I knew that I was building a wall. So it wasn't just necessarily about just hitting one population. And to be quite frank, like a lot of times people say, "Oh, well, is it for all women?" Yes, for all women. I think that all women can be motivated through this process. But I let people know that it is for my brown and my black and brown girls because there's so many different obstacles that we deal with. So that is my goal to make sure that they understand how beautiful they are. So my goal is to pick it up to go from down south to all the way over to the west coast to just to keep it going. And if somebody can pick me up and take me to China and Japan, you go ahead. Listen,
We,
I'm open.
we are overseas, ladies and gentlemen. We are overseas. I like how you touch on black and brown community. I had a comedian here, and I was so used to saying black, and he said, no, my 5-year-old even lets me know that we're not black. He said, if you look out in the street is black. He said, I'm brown. So it's like now I started emphasizing black and brown because we are a mixture of just black and brown. But what if it is, how do you feel if someone other than, the black and brown says, hey, I like that. I want to be a part of that. Is there some sort of, not so much bluntly say, hey, I really don't, would prefer you not to, but.
Oh, well, it's not even, listen, it's for everybody. It's for everybody. But one of my mentors that is no longer Malcolm X said, listen, you can join us, but I have to be able to fix me first. So with that being said, my community got to get fixed first. So you are able to come alongside. You can participate. You can be a part of. But at the end of the day, it's okay to be radical. People are radical about things all the time, and I don't take it back. At no point I think that all women need massaging on. I think all women are going through pain. But the reality is that when I go home and I look into the mirror and I focus on my two queens that I am moms to, when it comes to who they are, the reality is that I got to make sure that they can identify and know who they are. So with that being said, that I got to take a step back and be okay with the idea of saying that I want to make sure that they're okay. So Queen Academy, when I developed it, it was for my queens, for my two young ladies. I have a 20-year-old who will be 21, and I have one who will be 7. So I had to think about them first.
You have a who?
Yeah, I have one who will be 21. Yes. Listen, I had one to be 21. And she actually was one of the reasons why I did it. I always tell people say, well, what was your motivation? And I say, listen, I don't live for my kids, but what I do live for is to make sure that when I leave here that you'll remember who I am. So with that being said, is that I'm not doing it for money. While money do pay bills and money get me, keep me looking cute and keep us in a good house and car rolling and all that good stuff. I'm not saying that I want to go broke trying to keep my mission going, because I would be fraud if I was to say that. But my goal is that, when I do close my eyes, that you tap my daughter on the shoulder and say, your mom did a daggone good job well done.
For those who don't know why I was laughing, because I'm like, you daggone should look almost 20 yourself.
It's funny because I was just in a store. My daughter have a clothing line, and she was asking me to pick some stuff up from her, and I saw a sister. I said, hey, what school did you go to? She was like, oh, well, I'm in my 40s. I said, yes, so am I. She was like, oh. Come to find out we were in the same class. And she was like, oh, that's you. Yeah, I'm like,
yeah, I bet you get that a lot. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, she's over 21.
With this heavy voice.
No, she's really over 21. I checked the birth certificate. It has a raised seal. Yeah, wow. So let me ask you this: like, how do you get to get to travel? Is this like sponsored, private, public donations?
So we do have angel investors. I am what you consider a social enterprise. So with being a social enterprise, a lot of times people don't understand how it works. There's a lot of organizations that are social enterprise, and you look at it and think that it's nonprofit. With that being said, is that I do charitable things that allows me to still function the same way as if I was a nonprofit. The only thing that changes is that I am not tax exempt. So right now, Queen Academy is in the process of becoming actually a nonprofit of where it's going to be tax exempt. But my social enterprise is Lady Declare. So we have angel investors from Einstein Hospital. We have a lot of people that support us throughout the community, different state reps, and like we have Donna Bullock. So we have a lot of people within the community that does support us. And then me being a speaker myself, Reed Green, I'm able to function as a social entity myself. So I do invest a lot into my business. I do believe that it's important for people to see that you're willing to invest into your own company. So with me being a speaker, that does generate funds outside of just doing Queen Academy. Queen Academy is a charitable organization that I do with typically free of charge, where I go to the different schools, and it allows me to do speaking engagements. But right now, with us picking it up and actually planning it in different states, that is a goal where we'll become with a fee. So like August 17th is going to be our first time that we're going to be charging to do the event.
So if someone wanted to, get in contact with you, not just to make a donation, to make a donation, but to find out more about your program, because you did say that you're going on tour.
Yes.
So how would they get in contact with you for everything?
We're on social media as well as online. The website is Lady Declare as well as online. Again, Lady Declare stands for Lead in a Destiny. I declare, so it's an acronym. So it's LADIDECLAR dot LADIDECLARE.org, and it's also online. I mean, on Instagram at Lady Declare, which is LADIDECLARE Lady Declare, or you can find me personally, Reet Green, which is REET, as in Thomas, Green, like the color green. Reet Green, all one word.
I like that green stuff.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. So you're turning young ladies into queens.
Yes.
And I like the sponsorship, the state reps, because I think some of these oh my God, elected officials. I've been talking so much about these elected officials. Election time is coming. I'm hoping everybody comes out and vote. And then you have a great sponsor from Albert Einstein.
Yes.
So how did that work out? How did you get them involved in that?
There's a lot of other sponsors that are coming through, but Einstein was one of our really big sponsors. Believe it or not, Einstein does a lot for the community. And I met a sister, and I don't even know if she wanted me to drop her handle, but, I was telling her about the program. And she said, come and meet with me. And I was like, is that easy? She said, yeah, come and talk. And I came. I took me and my right hand, me and my executive director, we went, and we did a really big presentation for her, and we let her know exactly what it was that we were trying to do. And she sat with us for about 2 hours. And we corresponded through text message and through email. And then next thing I know, she said, listen, we'll have a check coming your way. So she was actually one of the first ones that came alongside and was like, you know what, we want to support the cause. And then as well as, I always tell people, when you're developing your brand, I always say, look at the 5 people around you. If they're not supporting you, then why are they part of you? Like, I don't understand it, If you're the richest person in your group, you need a new group. If you're the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. Seriously, like Les Brown. I never forget the first time I saw Les Brown speak. He said, and that's all I kept hearing. And I actually went to see him by myself because I couldn't get anybody to go with me. And the time I was treating them, I'm like, you don't even got to pay. Just come on, go with me to see this man speak. Oh, I got things to do. And he was like, if you're the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. And so with that, I challenged my creative team. I challenged my board of directors. If you can't get 5 people to commit and you call them friends, then they shouldn't be a part of your team. And then I got to reevaluate our friendship. If you can't sell 5 tickets to an event, or if you can't get 5 people to commit to donating $20 to a cause to be able to support a young lady, then we got to question what it is that we're doing. You should be able to commit to that. So with that being said, I think that helps me to fuel through the process. And then, when it comes to the youth, I think we all want to see them do better too.
Yeah, I think we do. That's kind of interesting because I said that on Facebook, that if I just threw out a number. So you have 1,000 friends, and if one of them are not spitting anything positive into your life, then they're just putting something negative in you. Because if they're always saying something, why you want to, who wants to, that's negative. And then what happens is you begin to feed off of that. That's all you do is think about that. That's not positive. You need to start eliminating. I like how you said that. You got to repeat that one more time. Can I borrow that line?
Yes. Listen, I borrowed it from Les Brown, so I'm sure he'll be like, listen, give me some of the proceeds. If you're the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. If you're the richest person in your group, you need a new group. And it basically goes back to birds of a feather flock together. You can't elevate to the next level if you're not having people around you to be able to do it. You're laser focused. Again, that goes to the whole idea of me transforming lives. When you're trying to transform, it's not looking at what's behind you, it's looking at what's in front of you. So if the thing that's in front of you isn't part of the target, if you don't see it, then you don't understand it. You can't even comprehend it. You can't feel it. Like I always tell people, when they're going through stuff and things doesn't seem natural to them, I always say, take your shoes off, go outside and feel the earth. Literally, every morning, that's part of my ritual. I take my shoes off, and that's something that I typically don't share with a lot of people unless they want in one of my, if they want to go in and they want coaching with me. I literally take my shoes off. I wear flip-flops all year long. I go outside every morning, and I touch the earth, even when it's snowing. I go and touch the earth because I got to remember, like, oh, this is real.
Done that.
This is real. Like, all right, let's rock and roll. Let's get this day started. So, and I remember the first time I did it, I was broken. I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to get out the bed. And so something told me, go outside, smell the earth, and then touch it. And I love when it rains. When it rains, I just run outside. I don't care if my hair done. It's just like, don't let it rain hard. It's just like, yes, like I get to run in the storm. Because a lot of times we run for shelter, and you need to touch it.
Yeah. I have a friend that does that. He goes out in the rain. He gets all geared up, and he goes for a nice long walk. I've never been a walker in the rain. Mm-hmm. I like the rain. I've just never been one of those. I never even thought to say, you know what, I'm going through some stuff. Let me just go outside. I like that concept. Everyone goes through some stuff, and they, find ways to adjust differently. That is one I may consider thinking about, when I'm going through some stuff, to go out and just touch
because
the earth.
It makes you come back to just knowing that you're still living, because we forget the small things. Like I always tell people, if you're always looking at your world being upside down, maybe you should get a little box. It don't have to be big. You can get a water bottle, whatever it is, and just jot down what happened that day. And it should be something that's positive. And then at the end of the week or end of the month, middle of the year, go back and read what you put in that bottle, because then you'll reflect and see, like, oh, it wasn't half bad. Because a lot of times we miss what was good because we're so focused on what was bad.
Now that I did. I did. I'm not gonna lie. I always started a journal, and somewhere after the first week, it just sat there. Like it literally looked at me. But I'm so quick to tell other people that say I'm going to do something to remind them to keep up with their journal. I haven't kept up with.
And the crazy thing is, Facebook keeps a journal for you. Facebook, and now I see Instagram does it. It makes a journal for you. It does the time hop. It reminds you. You're like, oh, and that's why I say pictures. Be careful the pictures that you post, because it does tell 1,000 words. If you don't want to remember a certain instance, don't post it.
Yeah.
Because it will pop back up, and you're like, oh, I remember. Even if it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it will remind you. And that's the thing. You want to remember the good things. So I think, I always tell people, you just got to find whatever your remedy is to jolt you back, to be like, you know what, let me just try this one more time. Because all of us go through, even the best of us. But you got to remember what you're doing it for and how you can get to the next level. And that is one of the benefits with Queen Academy. Each day, even though I'm pouring into them, they're constantly pouring into me. At the end, like I had a baby come up to me today, and she just said, "Can I get a hug?" She said, "I feel like I'm hugging a celebrity." I said, "Baby, I'm far from a celebrity. like, listen, I go home and I gotta fill up my own gas tank. Listen, I'm going through the drive-through like everybody else. Like, no celebrity status." But I told her, I said, "Listen," I said, "I learned so much by just sitting with y'all. Like, I get so much by just seeing how you guys move, and you guys keep me current. I remember why I'm doing this, by seeing their brokenness and their fractured ways, remind me of why I do it and how I got into it from the beginning." I tell people, with having 2 children of different ages, it shows exactly where I was at in different stages of my life. My 21-year-old, I can remember where I was at mentally by her actions of who she is today. She's a wonderful young lady. But, she still had her issues of knowing her worth. But my 7-year-old, please, she rocking. She knows all her worth, because mom was in a different place.
Right.
I was young when I had my 21-year-old. My 21-year-old have her own clothing line. She's a full-time college student, third year. She has a 3.0 GPA. She's rocking and rolling, but that had nothing to do with her knowing her worth, you know. And I had to go back and remind her that she's beautiful, but knowing she was beautiful was one thing, but remember how worthy she was something different. You know, she would second guess herself, but that 7-year-old doesn't second guess anything.
That, let me
So
ask you this: how do you reach children, especially our girls? Because society says blonde hair, blue eyes. It has to have long hair. You know, you have to. There's the commercials. Even the commercials, you know, depicted us as we're always in the back somewhere. You know, or if there's always one of us somewhere, or the commercial zoom past us real fast. And there's none of us. There's starting to be a pickup in it, but there was really no us in the background, so we had no one to look up to. Therefore, we mimic those that we saw. How do you get our generation, our youth, our females to have self-worth? You know, when this is all they had.
what's funny is when I first started some years back, I could remember thinking that I had the remedy to it. But to be totally honest, each time I go into a room, I kind of feel the energy. I take a while. I do research on the demographics of what's going on in the area, because for me to go into one part of the region and I tell them about kinky hair and big butts, and that may be um, what I'm thinking to speak about. But the reality is that they may be going home being molested, or they may not have food. You know, so even though, you know, dealing with what objectification is, that still not be the catalyst of what I need to deal with. So even though I know that's something that I want to touch on, I gotta dig deeper. I need to be able to reach them. You know, so what I do is that I make sure that my stories are relatable. I make sure that I'm touching on what it is that they're going through. You know, so each school I go to, each seminar that I do, I make sure I do my research. You know, I ask the questions because I need to know who it is who's my audience. You know, so then that way that my stories that I do share, that it makes sense to them. And then I try to come down to their levels. I make sure, like my daughter, she's actually a fashion designer, so she styles me. So I make sure that I'm styled where I'm relatable to them, where I'm still, you know, the old head,
Right.
but you know, like, but I'm not walking in there with a starch suit on, and so I make sure I have my cousin who's 15. He does all my sound, all my music. So it's a production when I go in. So I know the moment that I go in there is high energy. The person who introduces me, I make sure that everything is so high. So when I come on stage to talk to them, that they're ready to receive what it is that I'm going to give, and I come down to their level so much that that I even tell the teachers or whomever, whatever adults, listen, we about to get into their lane. So if it's too
Right.
much for y'all, then you know what I mean. This ain't for y'all. This is for them.
Right.
You know, and by the end, however it is, I always tell people, my day starts really early. It starts 3:30 in the morning, and I'm rocking and rolling, so I'm amped all day. So literally, I probably sleep about 3 hours a day. So by the time I'm ready, you know, I always ask that hour before I get to it, no contact. I don't talk to anybody, because I'm asking, you know, God, listen, allow you to increase and allow me to decrease. I need for
Right.
you to speak, you know, use me just as the tool. So between my research and him, it's just it's magic, you know. So when I get up there to talk, by the time I'm finished, I'm tired. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. Like, are we done? You know. um, so I always have, you know, a group that comes later, and they're like, you know, how do I get in contact with you? So I've got to the point now where I probably need a second phone, because
Yeah.
you know
It's
my
coming.
phone rings, you know, but I try to stay as connected as possible. But when it comes to that whole color thing, oh my God, color or hair, there's so many different issues that our babies are struggling with. Um, Even when I go and I speak to the younger ones, I'm telling you, as early as 5, and I give them pictures of light skin, dark skin, short hair, long hair, what we call nappy hair, straight hair, kinky hair, whatever you want to call it. They always identify with, even if they look just like the picture that they call ugly, they will identify with the light skin or Caucasian or blue eyes, long hair. Is amazing. It never fails.
Let me, because I never knew what colorism was
Mm-hmm.
growing up because we never discussed it. But we did endure it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because I didn't know of that word, I didn't know that's what we were doing. For those who don't know, that's when basically, when the dark skins don't like the light skins don't like the dark skins.
Mm-hmm.
Are you encountering some of that amongst some of the youth?
Oh, absolutely, all the time.
They still do that.
It's real big. Colorism and hair. Hair is really big. Long hair versus short hair. Kinky versus straight. Listen, you beautiful if you have straight hair. Oh my goodness, she got good hair, and it's not even with the kids. It's with the adults. But
Yeah.
how I try to combat that, I tell young people, I said, listen, I don't blame you. I blame everybody that's around you. I blame the media. I blame your parents. I blame your teachers. I even, anybody that's an adult who's pouring into you, I blame them. It's just like the bird and the chick. When a bird goes out, the bird does not have wings. They can only eat what they're about to feed their young. And when they do that, they stuff it all in their mouth. And when they come home, they regurgitate and they give it to the young. So when that chick receives it, they're receiving it whichever facet that the adults are giving it to them. And adults do it all the time. We don't mean it sometimes. We don't.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, she got such good hair. Did you see her? She got really good hair. Oh my God, girl, you got to go out with him. You got to have kids with him, girl, because he going to have good hair. Y'all going to have some good, your kids going to have that good hair, girl.
I did
Oh my
not
gosh,
know
she's
we
so
still
pretty.
talk like that.
All the time, absolutely. And not in all houses, but it happens
Right.
enough. And then they see it on the media. And then when it comes to the color thing, a lot of times people don't understand. They say it without even understanding it. She's a pretty dark skinned girl.
Yeah.
She's a pretty chocolate girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, do
Yeah.
you say she's pretty because she's light? You just say, oh, she's pretty.
Yeah.
She's
you
a pretty chunky girl.
Yeah.
She's a pretty heavy set woman.
Not. I say the dark skin and not realizing that I'm saying anything wrong until you said it, because a lot of the dark skin young ladies that I've encountered don't like their complexion. They think, oh my gosh, if I was a little bit lighter, and they're beautiful. Like they just don't know it. Like they're literally beautiful, but they see themselves as dark, as tar, as ugly. Anything a little bit lighter than them or close to white is beautiful. And I don't mean anything to take away from any other color when I look at that dark skinned girl to say you are beautiful, and I emphasize the chocolate part or the dark part because a majority of them see themselves as, dang, if I can just get if I can bleach my, and it's,
Colorism here, weight, it becomes a handicap. We see somebody who's handicapped and we treat them different. Oh my God, be careful. Oh, how are you? And fine. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm fine.
yeah,
I was born this way. Stop treating me. We make handicaps handicap.
yeah, we do.
I worked at a special needs school. I taught for some years. I worked at special needs and I worked with emotional support. If you treat them like everybody else, they're gonna act like everybody else.
Yeah,
I held nothing back. No, they can't do certain things, but if you train them hard enough, train them long enough, they'll get it.
Yeah.
They'll get it. And we'll train. And if they can't get everything, they'll get it to where they can. And the same thing with color. Why are we treating it as if it's a handicap? Me being dark doesn't change anything. Me being light doesn't change anything. And the crazy thing is, like my oldest, she's very fair skinned. And never forget, growing up, she had issues with her color. She actually hated the fact that people called her anything but her name. People say, hey, white girl. Hey, glowworm. Hey, light bright. Hey, red bone. She hated all the names.
all the names.
It bothered her. And when I realized it bothered her, I didn't understand until she sat with my mother having breakfast. And she said, my mom said, why aren't you playing with your dolls? She said, because none of them look like me. And she pointed each one out. She said, this one looks like you. It was a little brown Barbie. She said, this one looks like Aunt Angie. It was a darker Barbie. She said, my mom said, what about this one? It was a white one. She said, doesn't look like me. She said, well, who looks like? She said, none of them. So I can remember that Christmas, her dad thought I was crazy because Christmas Eve I was crying my eyes out because there were no more dolls, no more Latina dolls. And the man went in the back. He was like, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna go find one." I was like, "Oh my god, Santa's not gonna bring her a doll that looks like her." So he came back out with a baby alive Latina doll, and I was able to give it to her because I couldn't go home without a doll that looked like her.
Right.
And since then, that was all I would buy her because she felt she needed something that looks like her. So we don't realize that we even hurt, you know, we ostracize them as well. Like that's just like thin. We think because somebody's thin that they like being thin. Some people want to be thicker. Yeah. Like, look at you. Oh my God. Or it's so cruel, even down to, oh my God, look at you. You can gain so much weight. As if I ain't look in the mirror. Like, why are you calling me? Why are you telling me I got fat? You know, but the same process goes if somebody is really thin. Girl, you got to eat a sandwich.
Yeah.
You real skinny. You know, so when I'm dealing with them, it comes from all angles. They struggle with weight. They struggle with even height. You know, they struggle with their height. They're struggling with every aspect because the smallest thing will tick them off. You know, and I've met some cutters. I've met some that have been suicidal, depression, and I always have like this one picture I love. The lady smiling, and on the eyes it just says depressed, because it's what lies behind. Because I can smile all day, and that's typically what the babies are doing. And adults, we smile.
But we do. We're really hurting. So let me ask you this again. Someone needs to contact you because you know what? They've heard about your program. They've seen the flyer, word of mouth. They really think their daughter or maybe even the child, wants to be a part of the program. How one, if they wanted to pour a financial donation into your organization, or how would they be able to contact you?
You would go to our website, Lady Declare, which is LADIDECLARE.org, or you can find us on Instagram at Lady Declare, which is LADIDECLARE, as well as you can go and find me on Instagram at Reet Green, which is REET as in Thomas, Green spelled just like the color green.
Just like the color green. The color of green is beautiful,
Yes, my favorite color, actually.
It's money, it's grass, it's beautiful, it's everything positive. So, So I appreciate you coming on here. You're doing your tour. When's your first tour?
We start August 17th of this year. It's going to be at the Ethical Society Center. It's from 2 to 6. The tickets are going to be $25. It's going to be, we're going to be selling tickets on Eventbrite. There'll be links on the website as well as on Instagram. And we'll be doing a bunch of promos that's coming up for that as well. And we're going to be ending the tour. I forget the date. I want to say it's late December or either early January. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. So, if anybody wants to make a donation so she can go to China.
Listen, yes.
Out of the country.
Yes.
Please, contact this young lady.
So, yes. And if anybody has any young ladies, we're also doing a summer, Queen Academy Summer Intensity. It's a 6-week program. It is free. It's free for young ladies between the ages of 12 to 18 as well. It's not a summer camp. I'm not doing a summer camp, but it is a summer intensity program. It's 20 hours a week. And get them an opportunity to really sit with me and become transformed. As myself, as well as a team that I'm actually finishing up, we're working through the modules of what it looks like in regards to making sure that they can spit out the same information that I'm given. But it's a pretty dope program. I'm not making it a huge program. I'm only actually taking 20 girls, and I'm coming up to the end of it. So if they want to get involved in that, they can do that as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I so appreciate it because your daughter really wants you to come out there. So I appreciate you coming on, but I would love to have you come back on to touch on it the closer you get to your tour date. Yeah, I really do. So I'm going to take a pause for the cause, put some music on, wait for my next guest. I have this awesome song that I told this young man that I was going to play for him. I played it and couldn't find it. So now I'm going to put it back on again. So I appreciate you taking your time and